Shalom Israel. What's up with it? You know what it is. Take ground breakdown, take ground radio, real Hebrew militant speaking. So it's Captain Chaapash of the Israelite School of Knowledge under Commander GEN.YAHANNA. Today we are doing a little, at least for this session. I'm gonna do another video later today that's going over more virus and everything like that, and the BS that the white man is pushing when it comes to everybody's get checks and gets debts cancellations and all that, except for the black man that's on child support, that's struggling to pay his bill of child support. It's black, like Commander GEN.YAHANNA brought out, everybody's struggling to pay bills. Everybody owe money on a bill. For you to just single out the child support payment bills and not give no money to him, even though that money could help pay for them children, right? He could use that money to put on the child support payments, right? But that's not the point. They don't care about feeding the children or getting money to them kids. They don't give a damn about no black kids. You understand why? Why would they be shutting down the schools if they cared about black kids? Why would they shut down all the inner city schools? Shutting them down, right? So that's not the point to take care of black children. You understand? They shooting black children in the streets. So they're not trying to feed and make sure black children got all the money and everything they need. They're trying to destroy black men. They're trying to destroy and pressure down and oppress black, Hispanic, and Native American men, right? Like I said, there's all types of debts, student loan debts, car loan debts, house loan debts that everybody owe. But they ain't cutting you off from society for it. They ain't taking your license away. They ain't arresting you for it, for debts that you owe. But all of a sudden you're gonna do it to the black man for the child support debt. That's BS, man. But we're gonna break that down a little later. For now, we're gonna do this this interview. We rolling. We doing this documentary for leading up to the Passover, headed by Captain Quad. It's a great thing that we're doing, building up this truth and getting everything right. I'm gonna let you go ahead and take over, Rapa.
All right. Salakia, how did you learn about the truth?
How did I learn about the truth? I learned about the truth. It was kind of like it was of the Lord for sure, because it was like a amalgamation, like a culmination of things coming together to make me that pushed me towards the truth. You understand? Like I was in school, I was living in a dorm room, I was in college and everything like that, and I was just starting to see through a lot of the BS. I was starting to see through the BS of religion. The Christian church wasn't the same. I was starting to see through the BS. It just wasn't having the same feeling, I guess. And I was starting to see how society works and how basically even in college, they were doing in college, in the top colleges, they're training devils, they're training oppressors to enslave blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We did a book report, or like it was supposed to be like a 500-page report for this business class for the Kelley School of Business at IU. And basically they were saying, watch this music video and do a 500-page report on it. And the music video was Old Man River, right? I forgot the guy who sings it, but he was a black man video of him singing Old Man River. Old Man River, just keep rolling along. And he's working basically. And he's talking about he's tote that bale, lift that barge, drink a little liquor, then you land in jail. That was like the hook, right? Then he goes into Old Man River, basically singing about the Mississippi River and the work that black men were doing on the Mississippi River and how they were taking the bales of cotton off the boats and doing the work, and then they just get junk and go to jail. And I started to think, why is this a Business 101 book report? And it didn't take long to figure out. Basically, I figured it out a little later on, I think, and more. Basically, they were conditioning these oppressors, these white people, these white children, to work black people and have no remorse for it, because all they're going to do is work, and drink a little liquor, then land in jail. That's all they're going to do. So have no remorse for working them into the dirt, giving them low wages, treating them like crap, making them work like slaves. Have no remorse, because all they're going to do is drink a little liquor and land in jail. And I was seeing also how basically these white students are set for life. They about to be in this nice college and have all this. Their parents already got money. They about to have a degree. They're about to get a great job. They're about to have everything they need in life. But I was noticing that these same white kids were not smarter than the black kids I went to the black high school with at Tech High School here in Indianapolis. I graduated 2011. Them white kids at the college level were not smarter than the black kids. So that's what I started to see. Like, this is some bullshit going on. This is some bullshit going on. I started thinking to get to the bottom of it. That was the spirit of the Lord, to try to start seeing, like, why is my people destroyed and these people set up from high school on? Like, they just average ass students, but they in this top-notch college, about to have a top-notch education as far as with the paperwork and get a great job. But they were not like these, you would think, like these great intelligent motherfuckers or something. Like, they hitting each other in balls, they getting high, they taking pills to do their schoolwork. I mean, these guys, these weren't no like geniuses. They were far from any type of genius. And I started to see the BS. So I would go to the library, I forgot the name of that library. I think it's Herman B. Wells Library at IU. And they had a 10-story library, like one of the biggest libraries in the world, like millions of books, rows of books. You know what I mean? You get lost in there. There's so many floors of books, of books, of books. And I started looking up the black section because I wanted to get into the history on why we're destroyed and why they're not. Like, what happened in the past that where they are, where they at now, and where we are, where we at now. So I started looking into that. And I started reading up a lot about Egyptology or Egypt and the African nations, but they didn't have really what I was looking for as far as the history. I wanted the history right before slavery. No books had that history. That's why I started looking online and watching a lot of wise men from the world standards, John Henry Clark, Malachi Z. York, Umar Johnson. I used to watch a lot of their videos and their lectures and everything like that to try to get to the bottom of it. But none of them had the real truth. None of them had the answer. They had a lot of good knowledge. I was great, but they didn't have the truth. And I stumbled upon the Israelite School UPK on YouTube, the Israelites, and I started learning that. And I had a Bible too that an Arab friend of mine gave, and shoot, I started looking through that Bible, connecting everything they were saying and reading in the scriptures, and then I started saying, man, these are telling the truth, and they got the history I'm looking for, and a lot more. They had so much more than I even bargained for. They had so much of the knowledge that I yearned for. You know what I mean? So that's how I came into the truth. Like I said, it was kind of just like it was just like multiple things just pushing me towards looking and studying that. And I was watching a lot of documentaries. So I was just trying to learn. I was taking that free time, that leisure time. There's a scripture that says a man gets wisdom by chance of leisure time, by chance of leisure. You understand? You don't get wisdom by the plow. So while I was at the dorm room, everything paid for already. I had a scholarship for that freshman year. I was just learning. And I learned the truth from the Israelite School UPK during that time.
What convinced you the ISUPK had the truth?
What convinced me that the I.S.U.P.K had the truth? Because also during that time, I was seeing a lot of other Israelite groups too. So basically, what made me know that I.S.U.P.K was it? It was basically one of Commander GEN.YAHANNA's camp speakings, and he was speaking about abortions, 300,000 abortions a year, and how are we going to stop that? And when I heard that, I said, man, nobody else is talking about these abortions. Look how many of our children are dying in the abortion clinics. Nobody else is talking about it. Only the I.S.U.P.K. That's when I said the I.S.U.P.K got the truth. You know what I mean? That's when I was like, damn, these dudes got the knowledge that need to be spread across the whole damn world. Like, there was nobody else that had this knowledge, and everybody needed to know about these abortion numbers. Everybody needed to know what's killing off our people more than anything else. So that's what made me say the I.S.U.P.K has the truth. You know what I mean? They have what nobody else ever could have. You know what I mean? Or at least they have that nobody else. I didn't see nobody else have. Nobody talked about the abortions. I'm talking nobody. Only the ISUPK was fighting against these abortions and how they was killing our people. So yeah.
What do you think about the quarantine?
What do I think about the quarantine that's going on right now? For people don't know, this is January, February, March. This is March 29th, 2020. And there's a quarantine on the whole country, damn near, of America, where lots of businesses are shut down, schools are shut down, government offices are shut down, services are shut down, and everybody's basically pushed to stay at home. Stay at home and stay away from people and stay away from. It's illegal to have large gatherings and everything like that. It's quarantine on the whole country from the coronavirus, also called COVID-19, which is a flu disease that came from China, right? And it's really a plague from the Lord. What do I think about this quarantine? I think the quarantine is a much needed wake up call for our people. A much needed wake up call for our people to basically see how fragile, how the Lord can take this whole bitch down. The Lord can take this whole kingdom down. And this is just a sign. This is just a sign of the times. This is a sign of the end of this kingdom. This is the beginning of the end, basically. You know what I mean? These plagues coming because more plagues are going to come, more famine, and all of that. So I think the quarantine is a much needed, in the Most High's great wisdom. He's seen fit to start bringing his plagues now. And it's a much needed thing. I know it's definitely an inconvenience to a lot of people. It's it's throwing off a lot of people's finances and a lot of people's living standard and way of life. But that's what it takes sometimes. That's what it takes sometimes to wake the people up to what's going on. That blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the children of the Lord. We got to come back to the Most High and keep those law, statutes, commandments. And get ready to build our own kingdom because this kingdom is far from flourishing. But that's what I think about it. I think it's much needed, and it's rough pill to swallow, but it's a medicine that we need, that everybody needs to get right with the Most High, to be prepared, get prepared for Christ's return. Yeah, that's what I think.
What do you think about the Passover being postponed?
The Passover being postponed. I think that was much needed too. I think that was a good thing too. I mean, obviously, we wanted to have the Passover at its appointed time, but there's a provision in the law that's for just this event, just this type of thing. That if we can't have it at its appointed season, that we have it 30 days later. And if you can't have it 30 days after that, then the 60 days later. We supposed to be getting checks from the government and everything like that. The majority of us. I think that money is definitely going to be helpful for a lot of the families to make it to the Passover. So, I mean, it's the Lord's will. It's the Lord's will. You know what I mean? I think the Passover is going to be even greater now. Mm-hmm.
Do you think the events of this plague will lead up to World War III?
Do I think that the events of this plague will lead up to World War III? I for sure, I know it's going to lead up to World War III. You understand? This is just the beginning of the prophecies that the Lord have prophesied. So I know what it's going to do. It's definitely going to lead up to World War III. It's time, right? Like what's going to happen is basically these economies are going to look up and see how their treasury is so low, their economy is so destroyed that it's going to force them into war. It's going to force them into trying to conquer other states and trying to take from other countries. Like that's what's going to happen as a result of this plague. And that's definitely going to lead us straight to World War III.
What do you think the future holds for the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge?
The future of the Israelite School of UPK, I think, is very bright. Like this right here is definitely a wake-up call, and it's given us a push to start to establish our own networks and our own organizations and our own connections as far as like food. Like one thing that's great about what Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have already done in America is we built this country to be we built this country where you can make the connections is there. You know what I mean? Like we got a good mail system, we got good roads, interstate highways where we can travel and trade with each other. I think that Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans built this country very well, so we can take advantage of it. So I think the future of the Israelite School UPK is a lot more of us making our own food, making our own, having our own chicken farms and land, having our own fishing industry. I think the Midwest is really going to blow up in the fishing industry because all the rivers in the Midwest that are full of fish, and that so many Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans basically not abandoned, but basically don't fish anymore. I think the fishing industry is going to grow in the Midwest schools. I think other schools around the country are going to start having land and getting animals and chickens and having our own like that. And we're going to become more independent. Like this was definitely a wake up call for us to become more independent from like just relying on grocery stores, relying on the government, relying on America to do everything for us. Like this is definitely a wake up call for certain brothers to jump into action, and we get to establish our own networks. So I think the Israelite School UPK is going to be the forerunner in that because we are the most organized, the most militant, the strongest, the most focused, the most driven. You understand? Out of any Black organization. So if anybody can do it, I know the Israelite School UPK can do it. Which, and when I say it, I'm talking about give Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans alternative. Give us our own industry. Make us our own captains of our own ship. You know what I mean? Holders of our own destiny and our own future. Where we're not just like trusting in America, you know, basically on the path to setting us free. So I think the Israelite School UPK is gonna blow up. Like we're gonna have a great amount of new students, strong soldiers and strong sisters that are gonna come in these schools all across the country. We're gonna get more schools. We're gonna get more buildings. We're gonna become more powerful. We're just gonna grow. You know what I mean? And I think this epidemic is gonna make us grow exponentially. You know what I mean? It's gonna make us grow, times tenfold. So it's just, Commander GEN.YAHANNA, he's that type of leader. You know what I mean? He's that type of leader where when the going gets tough, he gets going. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing stops the Israelite School of UPK. Definitely all the generals, the captains, the officers. We got men that are built for this type of shit. You know what I'm saying? We built for, famines and pestilence and disease and plague and the end times. Like that's what we train for in the UPK. We train for these days. So we're fully prepared. We're fully ready to take it head on and to take all Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans with us. Everybody need to follow the Israelite School of UPK. Go to our website, ISUPK.com, and start learning about the movement. Start learning about the culture, the school, the truth, what your people, the future of your people, the prophecies. Learning about the end times, getting out of that Christian church and coming into the truth. So I think the Israelite School UPK future is extremely bright. I think nothing's going to stop us. I think this is just a forerunner of what's to come. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just so happy that I'm in the Israelite School UPK. I'm full of joy every damn day. I'm full of vigor and life and purpose every day. You understand? With all the brothers and soldiers that work with me and work under me, and the officers and captains, the captains and generals I report to. Like I think this is the perfect storm for us, for the Israelite School of UPK to take ground. It's perfect. Take ground. You know what I mean? We have our show, Take Ground Radio. Like this is a perfect storm for us to take ground, for sisters to start getting in industries. Look, they shutting down the nail salons, shutting down the Chinese restaurants. So sisters got to start stepping up their game with cooking, doing hair and nails. You know what I mean? The businesses is laying off people. Guess what? The Israelite School of UPK is hiring people. We about to go do some fishing today on one of our first fishing expeditions, and we're going to turn this fishing into an industry. And we hiring. We're gonna hire brothers, teach them how to fish. There's these Hebrew carps, they formerly known as Asian carp. They're Hebrew carp now, and they're all throughout the Illinois, Ohio, and Kentucky and Mississippi rivers. And shoot, and that and more. We got so much more in play. You know what I mean? We a kingdom. We a small kingdom that's sticking up that little horn. You know what I mean? Like the scriptures say, the kingdom of heaven is a mustard seed, which start as the smallest of all kingdoms, but then it'll flourish and become the greatest of all kingdoms, to even where the other nations sit in our branches and get rest in our branches. You know what I mean? These other nations are gonna be looking to us for leadership. Now we the future kings we the kings and priests of this earth. So we the future leaders. In the Israelite School of UPK, this is where it gets done. This is where you get the training. This is where you get the knowledge. Where you get the Hebrew Academy. You get everything you need to know to deal with what we're going to deal with in the future. Because the future is bleak if you're in the world. If you're in the world, the future looks very dark for you. The plagues is here. World War III is coming. It's going to be a very tough time for people, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans who are in the world. And when I say in the world, it means you're not in the Israelite School of UPK. You're not in our classes. You're not paying tithes. Right? You're not under the guidance and the leadership and the protection of the other soldiers. If you're not in this, your future looks very dark and gloomy. But if you're in the UPK, your future is bright. You understand? Keep up with your camp leaders. Stay in contact with them through these different tough times, and it's going to lead us all the way to the top. You know what I mean? It's going to lead us to what we wanted, which was freedom. And the price of freedom is you need to serve the Most High. You need to serve the God of Israel, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the men that He have already set up. Like I had somebody ask me one time, like, what makes you follow the ISUPK and everything like that? And I just gave him a carnal answer. Like, it's a lot of spiritualness to it, but I gave him a carnal answer. I said, because the ISUPK are winners. The generals and the captains and the officers in the ISUPK are winners. That's who you want to follow. You don't want to follow no damn loser. And when I mean loser, I mean as your leader. Like, you want a leader who's going to be a winner. You want somebody who's going to have the right answer, who's going to have the power, who's going to have the knowledge to help you. You don't want somebody who's a loser, who's going to lose the battle, who's going to lose the war. Commander GEN.YAHANNA in the Israelite School of UPK raises nothing but winners. We don't raise up losers. All we do is win. You understand? No matter what. You know what I mean? So, you want to get down with winners. We are winning black men out of the prison system. We are winning black men out of the jail system, out of selling drugs. We are winning women out of the strip clubs and off them stripper poles and prostitution. We are changing our whole people to winners. We are getting brothers off the streets and crack and dying. We are reuniting families together. You understand? That's winning. Why would you settle for anything less? We are getting brothers who have no knowledge whatsoever out of the streets, out of gang banging, out of killing their brothers, sleeping with their brother's woman, and turning them into priests and prophets of the Lord who wouldn't steal a dime from off the street, who would never sleep with a prostitute, who would never pay a prostitute, who would never sell drugs, who would never sell out. We are raising up men that were formerly nothing into something greater than gold. That's a winner in my book. You understand? And that's why I follow the ISUPK. And that's why the future of the ISUPK is great, because we are winners. We are winners. You understand? We win for Christ. You know what I mean? A black man named Jesus Christ. We win for him. We win for Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. You understand? And that's what's so great about it. You know what I mean? Any other questions? No, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Israelite School of UPK under Commander GEN.YAHANNA. You understand? You know my show, Take Ground Radio, my stilo, Take Ground Breakdown, Matrix Sessions, a real Hebrew militant. You know what I mean? We in here. We at our school at 2630 East 10th Street. Classes Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Go to our website, ISUPK.org. ISUPK.com. Get all that knowledge. You understand? Get all that wisdom. We in the end days, and shoot, I'm just happy to be alive during this time. Like I used to think about, what if I was alive during the time of the curses of Moses when they split the Red Sea and walked out of that mud? We living it again. We living it again. The Lord is plaguing Egypt again, and it's great. You know, like I said, we about to go do our fishing. Try to get a couple 100 pounds of fish. I mean, probably not this first time around, but in the future we're gonna get more and more. And shoot, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Stay up with your schools. Learn this truth, man. With that said, shalom.